What's going on, folks, and welcome to ARG. This back here is the new Samsung Odyssey Neo G9 57-inch super ultra-wide gaming monitor. And for me, this was a huge mistake. Alright, so firstly, this screen back here is amazing. I absolutely love it. If you're a gamer, a video editor, if you like to do a lot of multitasking, have screens side by side, many of them, this screen is perfect for you. It is 57 inches of absolute wonder. And if you're curious, this is the equivalent of having two 32-inch 4K monitors side by side without your bezel. So plenty to work around with. I absolutely love this background too. It's a moving background from Steam that I downloaded. That was really cool. First of all, before I get into why this was not right for me, let me run a clip for you that we put together the other night.
All right, as you can see here, this is where Austin began the unboxing process. Now, Lance is there too, but he's just kind of running around holding a phone on a stick, like an idiot, because we were showing this off to TikTok at the time for that. And as you can see, there's naturally not a whole lot of components that come with it. You got the stand, but we weren't going to be using the stand because, well, Austin's desk just isn't made for that, really. It also comes with its own set of cables, which is fine and dandy on its own, but unfortunately, again, for our setup, they were just too short, so we have plenty of our own cables. Now, the nice thing is because this thing's a little complicated and you want to treat it nicely, you can actually attach the arm, pull it out of its box to keep it safe, and place it where you need to. In this case, we placed it on the top. Now, this project took us 4 hours. Why? Because we're not using the mounting arm. So we had to find the bolts and nuts and washers all to do that. And that became a big problem. Now, once we did actually get this thing finally set up, which you'll see in just a moment, we also had to figure out how to get the video settings to work since we have the gaming computer hooked up to a studio recording computer, which is again why you'll see the big doofus sitting down at the desk playing around with all the visuals. Once that happened, it looked great, but just a little bit glossy. Why was that? Right. Austin had to spend about 5 minutes peeling off all the little cover plastic pieces, which he enjoyed very much and enjoyed sharing that with everyone live. So enjoy.
Alright, well, hopefully you enjoyed that hyperlapse of the unboxing and setting it up on the stand, but yeah. How you like that moving wallpaper there? I think that's really cool looking. Alright, so first we're going to start off with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because, well, everyone wants to see what this game's like on a screen like this. I'm going to show it off first in full screen, like widescreen mode, and then I will show it to you in central screen mode. And I apologize for no sound. Currently, I do not have any speakers hooked up, so I use my headset most of the time, but I can't really, relay that. Alright, so here's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on full super ultra widescreen mode. What I have noticed is that, once you get past that 16:9 ratio and it starts bleeding over to the 21:9 or the 32:9, you'll notice the image starts stretching in the corners. So it's pretty much the same exact thing as if you were running 16:9, you're getting the same image. But it does make it more immersive, so that's pretty cool that you get that. Ooh, that was a good shot. Anyway, that is super ultra wide. Now let's play this in 16:9, like this right here, but without the game expanding. Now the only thing that I don't like is that on a game like Call of Duty here, obviously this is like an 8K cut in half. So you've got 4K up and down, but you got 8K left and right, 7680 by 2160. So you would think that, hey, this is a 4K screen, this is a 4K screen, so why can't you have 4K straight in the middle? I don't know why, but it doesn't give you the option. It gives me 3840 by 1080, but it doesn't give me the actual 2160p resolution for this particular game. So I'll go ahead and go down to 1920 by 1080 and I'll show you what the game looks like in that. Alright, so here we've got full screen in the middle, 1080p. Again, not sure why it doesn't want to do 4K straight in the middle, but at least you have the option that you can run it through here. Honestly, I don't see a whole lot of difference. I don't know why between 4K to 1080. So maybe maybe it adjusts on itself. I am not entirely sure, but it does play smooth. It is great, and I am dying like crazy because I don't have my headset on. Now I'm going to show you what it's like to play it on the left or right. We'll just play it on the left-hand side with the split screen mode, and I'll make sure we got the 120 hertz on the left-hand side. When you do this, you can only run 120 hertz on the left, and we can do 60 on the right, but we're not worried about that because that's where you would put your whatever info you want over here, whether you're streaming or web browsing or whichever. Okay, so apparently I was incorrect. So I went ahead and had it switched over to the left-hand side. You can go left or right easily. All you got to do is click the button down here, go up to menu, PIP or PBP, which is picture by picture or picture in picture. Select that, go down to source, and you can select where you want your HDMI 1 to go. Now, I am using HDMI 1. My display port is a 1.4. I'm running a RTX 4090, so I don't have the Radeon that's got the 2.1. But if I wanted to go over there with it, then I would select HDMI 1. Well, that was wrong. I'd select number 2, click it, and then HDMI 1, and it will ask me to switch. I'll say yes, and boom. It switches over to there instead. But it's only letting me do 60 hertz. It won't let me do 120 hertz on one side or the other doing that. I don't understand why. I don't know if that's a Windows 11 thing or if that's something with the 4090 or HDMI or what. And this here is going to be Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on picture by picture on the left hand side. We are running 4K and it is at 60 hertz, which sucks to be honest with you. I would much rather. I'm used to playing at 120. A lot of people are used to like 144, gaming monitors, or 240 if you got high end. I am quite used to using 120, so even 60 hertz for me is just way too low. I hate the 60 hertz. But as you can see, that's the best you can get with this right here. Over here it says no signal because obviously I can plug my display port in because the 4090 only has HDMI, one HDMI slot, and then it's got 3 display ports, unless you have like the ASUS version, which has 2 HDMI ports. But this is made for another input. Whatever system you have, it doesn't matter, you can put it here. And picture in picture, you can put the picture wherever you want, pretty much. I think it has like selected spots, but still the corners or whichever. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and show you Diablo 4. I do have HDR enabled. I didn't have it enabled with Call of Duty. I kind of forgot all about it. But it is enabled now, so let's go ahead and get into the game and I'll show you Diablo 4. Alright, so now we're in the game for Diablo 4. I'll just give a little bit of a walk around. HDR is enabled. The options, HDR is enabled right there. It says we're running at 7680 by 2160, but for some odd reason we're not getting the full screen. I don't understand what's up with that, but this is Diablo 4. Walk around town for a minute and show you the horse. Horse looks kind of cool. Show you the colors of the fire. Let's go to the portal up here. I'll show you the colors of the portal. Pretty cool. But that is Diablo 4. Now I'll show you an older game like Mass Effect. This is the Legendary Edition, and it looks pretty cool, right? Except for if you notice on the side here, see how we got some weird stuff going on? That's because for some odd reason the game is, I think it's like copying the image from this game, and it's kind of giving a bleed through on this side. And that's because it's got 2 monitors right here, pretty much. But anyway, yeah, I just went into the settings and messed around with the some. It's supposed to be a 1920 by 1080 full screen, which is usually, it'll cut it off. But as you can see, in an older game like Mass Effect, of course this is BioWare, and from my understanding their UI and all the, how their game works and such like that is kind of finicky. But a game like this, it just kind of breaks it. We're not getting any bleed through on the other side now, but it's also stretched all the way across. I don't really understand what's going on there. And that's kind of a bummer. I was really hoping for, at least play it in the center without any issues. And so far, we've messed with it a couple times, and I have yet to see it actually get centered without any issues and all that. I think we managed to get it to play on the left-hand side one time, but again, it was still just not great. All right, so I did the picture by picture thing, playing Mass Effect on the left hand side here, and again, it's much better. It's playable at least, but we are getting the 60 hertz refresh rate, which is just not great. So you can play it if you wanted to, Legendary Edition. You play on the left or right, but it's not entirely the experience that I would prefer, to be honest. All right, now we're into Hogwarts Legacy. Absolutely phenomenal game, beautiful game, awesome to play. Really do like it. HDR's turned on, everything is to the max right now, and as you can see, this is probably the only game that actually looks really good on here. Call of Duty does look good, it's just it's got a little too much stretching, and although this does stretch it, it still looks pretty decent to me. However, I am noticing that even though I am using a 4090, where this is maxed out on everything, and it's not just 4K, it's like the 7680 by 2160 resolution, it does have a little bit of a drop in frame rate. It's not horrible, it's most definitely playable, but it is it could be a little bit smoother. It's not quite as smooth as I would like, even at 120 hertz. I don't know how well you can tell that on camera, but I can tell it in person. But now that I've shown you all the gameplay, let me go ahead and show you what it's like to do productivity, such as editing. Alright, so as you can see, the editing department is where something like this really shines, because you have all this screen real estate, that you've got your things down here, you can see all the way across, easy to zoom in and out, and just overall a really good experience. Drag, drop down here. I mean, you have so much room to work with. So when it comes to the productivity and whatnot, I'm not sure what all you guys will be doing as far as the editing goes, but just saying, when it comes to editing a video, that part about this screen I absolutely love. It is nice. All right, and I'm sure that you all can see it, kind of the lighting and all that stuff kind of off with this. If I go down to here, where you're actually at eye level, you don't see any of that. It's much better. Right now, like, my phone is actually capturing, see how it's got like rings and stuff out with my phone? You don't see that in person. The phone's just capturing extra bit of that. But the screen is actually really nice. And of course, when you get straight onto something, it's fine. And when you start going over it, you see the blooming. So you see the blooming if you look down, but in all honesty, who's gonna look down at the screen? You're playing a game or watching movies or editing or whatever, so big whoop. All right, so y'all have seen what this thing's capable of. You know what I'm running, a 4090 in here. I am using HDMI 2.1. No point in DisplayPort 1.4. The only reason you would need that is if you have an actual DisplayPort 2.1, which is in the latest AMD graphic cards. Unfortunate for the 4090 owners. So, why is it that I made a big mistake? Well, I made a big mistake because of how my desk is set up. I also had the thought that you could run 240 hertz on HDMI 2.1 if NVIDIA released an update. However, that's not entirely the case. So yes, it is possible. You can technically run it at 240 hertz with maybe an update, but it does so with a compressed file. It's not as good. It's not great for games or anything like that. It's just not good. So that's where you need the DisplayPort 2.1 at. So for anybody that's running a 4090 right now, this right here, you might as well wait to get a 5090. I'm sure that will be a pretty awesome thing. Now, as far as anything else goes, so as I said before, I can handle 120 hertz. That's not a big deal. Big whoop. I'm used to 120 hertz because I had an LG C2 before this, the 42 inch. And honestly, that's what I'm going to go back to, is another LG, well, probably an LG C3 now. However, if you notice, this over here is my desk, the rest of my desk space. To put my Sony camera up here, put my microphone up here, like the camera itself is going to be in the way of the screen. Not ideal. I can't really put it above it because it's too high. I can't put it below it because it's too low. So it doesn't work in the best interest for me. When it comes to playing certain games on here, it's rough, okay? Call of Duty is fun, it's immersive, but having the screen just stretch on the sides is not in my best interest. I would rather have the OLED OLED picture quality over the mini LED. Personally, everyone has their own differences, and most people would say, oh, you need a 240 hertz refresh rate at 1400 or 1440p. I mean, sure, if you're a hugely competitive gamer, absolutely. I'm not a majorly competitive gamer. It's a gaming channel, but we're here to have fun and just play things and talk to people. So it's not for me personally. I love my visuals, and with the C3, I can have maybe another smaller monitor set up over here. But even if not, Lance has a station built up over here that he can watch the chat and everything. So it's not that big of a deal. For games, for older games, Resident Evil 7 practically broke it. I didn't break the screen, but it just didn't want to run right. Thankfully, I ran that game and beat it before I got this monitor. A game like Mass Effect, I can't run it at the full 120 hertz, and I can't run it in the middle of the screen because it just doesn't work right. So for certain games that need that 16:9 aspect ratio, that are maybe older, this is just not going to work for it. At least not that I've seen so far. Maybe one of you all figure out how to later, but I haven't yet, and I've been messing with it for a few days now. But those are my reasons for not really regretting getting this screen. I can return it or sell it, and I'm doing either one right now. But it's my reasons for getting rid of it. At least I tried it, I've tested it, trial and error, very expensive trial and error, but it's there. So with that said, I hope this was an informative video. I hope that the games I've played were enough to show you kind of the experience you get. A game like Hogwarts Legacy, where we'll utilize the host screen, or even Call of Duty, really. Call of Duty still has a little bit of a frame drop from time to time, but it's not like Hogwarts. Hogwarts is definitely more intense on the graphics, and it did take some of that smoothness away, and I love that smooth as butter screenplay. Granted, it's 120. It's not smooth as you 144 and 240 hertz folks tend to get, but I've not ever played on that. I played 144 on my laptop, and I do love that. But on an actual desktop, I don't have that experience, so I'm fine with it. If you are a person that likes your 240 hertz or 144, and you have a 4090, do not get the monitor, unless you plan on getting the 5090 in 2 years, or possibly not upgrade, but swap over and get an AMD graphics card instead. To my knowledge, I don't think the AMD cards are as powerful as the 4090. I think the 4090, unless I'm wrong now, I haven't checked in a minute, but I think it's still the most powerful card on the market. It just has a non-updated DisplayPort, which sucks. But again, I hope that this was informative. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Feel free to argue anything I said, constructive criticism. Subscribe for more. If I can get a benchmark going between now and the time I get rid of the monitor, I will try to do a benchmark, but no promises. So just in case, you might want to hit that notification bell. And if you're interested in Resident Evil, or what's it called, Psychonauts, he just played some Psychonauts. I'm playing Titanfall on the laptop. I might play Titanfall here at the house. I took vacation this week. So we got several games in the works that we're working on. Mass Effect, I do plan on playing and beating that. That's going to be a pretty long series. So make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe if you want to see some cool games. But with that said, I'm going to hop off here. I hope you all have a wonderful time, and see you on the next video. Peace out.